Hello, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. As I've already seen in chat, no, I was not having a dance party. I was also not taking a nap as much as I would love to. I was just restarting a router. Yes, party horse is all that matters. But we are here finally, and again, I apologize, with a special episode of Table Crashers. Before we get into introducing our guest today, I want to start with just talking about in general. Geek Spiel is a PG-13 stream where we include and want to play games with all gamers and kind of make folks feel comfortable. Just a safe place to enjoy and learn about and geek out about games, right? So that's part of it. Today in particular, we're kind of doing something special. It started with Matt Miller, our producer, saying, I want to play games, but I always have to sit behind the camera. And so today is what we're calling game night here on Geek Spiel. We will stream potentially. We're for sure going to stream Assembly here right now, but later after this, we're just going to play some games. We've got a bunch of people on our Discord right now. If you want to play a pickup game, we're going kind of all night. Feel free to jump in on the Discord. The link is below our screen, our chat here in Twitch. You can jump in. We'll have some random pickup games starting here in a little bit. And again, sky's the limit, right? We can play just about anything and everything as long as it has TTS or Tabletopia or some type of online format. But what we're doing right now is we're going to play Assembly. So I have with us today Janice, and I'm going to get this right because, of course, our producer, Matt, didn't. Janice Turner, right?
Janice, that's right.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Matt, our producer, has on literally every note piece that we have, every kind of, I don't know if you noticed this on the image.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. Yes.
Right. It says Wren on everything, and that is not your last name.
No, he just needs to put a comma and then Games at the end, and then you'd been all right.
Oh,
no, Wren's my oldest daughter's middle name.
Yeah. And you said the title or the name of the company that you all with.
Yeah. So it's Wren Games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, if you want to criticize and jeer at Matt, please do so. Throw some bits at him and tell him how horrible he is, all the things. But Janice, we're here about you and your game. So tell us a little bit about Assembly and what was the inspiration for that? I see that you and your husband Stu are huge co-op people. And so is that kind of some of the inspiration for the game, or what started it?
Yeah, so we pretty much only play co-ops, especially if it's just the two of us. We've got just a handful of non-co-ops. You might occasionally see a baby's hand come up here. Sorry. So yeah, we play pretty much all co-ops, and we love them. We find that it's a much better experience playing them, and so it makes sense that what we design is what we enjoy playing. So Assembly was always going to be a co-op game. It was never going to be anything else.
Okay.
In terms of the idea, I had another game which I'd used that I'd been designing, which is a bit more complex myth, that used this similar, very pretty much the same, like a clock face. And I was thinking, this is a really nice layout for a game. What else could I do with it? And for some reason, I sort of come up with ideas, and when I was sort of trying to get to sleep at night, having put kids to bed and wondering when I'm going to be waking up next. And as I was drifting off, I sort of came up with the idea of moving things around. Wrote it all down. The following morning, prototyped it up, and it seemed to work. And so it just developed from there. It was just sort of, well, what can you do with a circle and some tokens? And that's, I guess, how Assembly was born. It was, sort of a half dream, half awake state. Sorry, I'm battling with a baby here.
I was gonna say, we see a little hand. I don't know if everyone else sees it. We see a little hand popping up here and there. There it is. It's cute and adorable. As someone who also has a newborn, I get it. Sometimes the little hands just pop up. So, your all's game.
Headphones.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you hear any of that.
Right. I'll let you put those back in.
Yeah, that's very good.
So it looks like your all's game's on Kickstarter now, right?
It is, yes. So it went live Thursday lunchtime. So
right.
We're two and a half days in now.
Right. And you all are already at 30%.
We're approaching 50% now.
Oh, okay. So we've jumped up a little bit. Oh, that was 30% in the first day. So how did that feel, right? I mean, I think sometimes we put on these Kickstarters and you see campaigns that take, sometimes their entire, length to get going, and 2.5 days in, you all are already at 50%. How does that feel?
It's pretty amazing, really. We was expecting to, if we funded, to limp over the line on the last day, kind of thing. And so the fact that we're almost at 50% and we're not even 3 days in yet it's just amazing. I mean, we're sort of worried that we're going to get nothing and no one would like it and everyone would hate it, but we've been really, really by the messages we're getting through about people telling us how excited they are about seeing people share it. It's an amazing feeling. It's really nice to see someone else enjoying something that you've made and sort of designing it, and someone else getting fun and excited about it. It's a wonderful feeling.
That's great. Yeah, I can only imagine the amount of excitement you all are having. And again, with 2.5 days in, this kind of perspective of, again, I think we all expect, right? We think when we get excited about Kickstarters that, like, yeah, this is going to go. But then I know for me as a supporter, I'll look at a game and I go, gosh, that's great. Like, I'm going to back it. And, maybe it's at 5-10%, but then suddenly to be at 50, it kind of makes that feel like a realization, right? Like, as a backer, I'm suddenly like, okay, cool. Like, I'm getting this game, right? And so that's going to be a great feeling for you too.
Yeah, it definitely makes it feel like we're going to, well, I don't want to say too soon, but it definitely feels like we're going to fund, and that's both exciting and terrifying at the same time, I think. But yeah, it's definitely exciting, and I just hope that assuming we do, I'm not going to be say, because you never know. Everyone might just turn around and say, "Oh, I've just watched that twist. It looks awful." But no, assuming it all goes well, it'd be great to get this game into people's hands. I think it'll be. I hope people really enjoy it, and when you playtest games, you have to do it over and over again.
Right.
I don't know how many times, it's got to be in the hundreds of times that I've played Assembly now, and I still get a satisfaction of winning. That's
great. I mean, isn't that the measure of a true fun and successful game, right? That you want to play it hundreds of times, right?
Yeah. So I don't feel like, oh, I've got to playtest this again. It was like, oh yes, I get to playtest again, and I enjoy it. I still do. I mean, I've got a few other games, and it's like they're not quite right, and it's sort of they're not quite there yet, and it just it's not quite the same feeling. This one is definitely gives me satisfaction when I'm playing. And the other ones will get there, but they just need a bit more iteration and refining still. They're a bit more of a beast than Assembly.
Right. And how is it using Kickstarter as a tool? Because, like, I have not created a game and put that out there, but I know some of the things like Kickstarter seems to have between, Kickstarter Live and a new tool that shows you kind of in the last 48 hours how many people have loved or saved your project as like a potential follow later. I mean, that seems like a lot of data and a lot of, oh my gosh, I have all of this functionality at my hands to kind of pull off this project. Is that intimidating? Has it been really helpful? How has using Kickstarter been for you all? Again, it's been 2.5 days, 3 days, but how has that as a tool been for you?
It's pretty good. I don't think we're using it to its full extent. I think it's still, because you didn't get to see any of the creative dash before we actually launched the project, so we didn't know exactly what was going to be there and exactly what to expect. So it was a bit of like, oh, they've got this, oh, there's that, and I think the interesting, I think for me, is like sort of where things are coming from. And so to start with, we've got sort of like, it was like 70 to 90% were external referrers for people, the backers. And now it's been slowly over the days switching from external referrers to sort of people that have discovered it through Kickstarter. So that's just really, I think that's the thing that I found most interesting with all the stuff that's there. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting to grips with it a bit more. I'm not sure I still understand everything that's in there. I think I need to do a bit of reading to understand exactly what all these random things mean, because they're not quite what I was expecting them to be.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about Assembly already, and we're going to hop in and play here in just a second. But Assembly is a 1 to 2, so it has the ability to be kind of a solo, but also that 2-player co-op, which again, I love seeing 2-player games come out there, and 1-player games like those solo games come out there, because we were chatting just last week with Gil, Dwarf Token, about just in general, when you're traveling and you kind of are looking for a quick game to kind of pull off, those solo games or those 2-player games are really easy to do. Maybe if in one word or one sentence before we get into the game, what would you describe Assembly as? What is Assembly in its essence to you?
You've got a set of things, you've got a limited set of tools, and you've got a solution that you have to set out and complete. And it's a puzzle on how you get there. So right to its core, it's a puzzle.
Okay. So we're gonna jump in on the table. Emma, hello. I'm gonna introduce Emma for just a second. Emma's joined us for playing her game that was on Kickstarter, a couple of months ago, called Quirk Legends, and I am repping the Quirk Legends shirt here that I got from the Kickstarter. Quirk being just a fun kind of charade / go fish combo game. That's kind of a fun little party game where Emma actually kind of joined us on stream and drew art on stream, watched us play her game and be ridiculous. A lot of the things we have on our stream actually are influenced by that episode in particular. So Emma, say hello.
Hiya.
And Emma, what have you been doing since our episode with you in Quirk Legends? So Quirk Legends got funded. That's I think one big thing we want to talk about.
Well, I got my stock and almost approaching 1,500 sales. And just trying to break retailers at the moment.
Okay. Awesome. So again, love your game. And again, if you've that I have on either Icon TTS or my Twitter bio, it's actually some art that Emma commissioned, and again, inspired by the Tiny Rhino party horse kind of conversation we had on the stream. So Emma's wonderful, fantastic. We're glad to have her here. We're about to play a solo game of Assembly. If you have a chance, I'm going to go rogue here. We also played this as a co-op. And so if you can find wherever on our screen the link attached here, then you can see that game as well. But we're going to play a solo version of Assembly. Emma's going to, as someone who's played this game several times and helped play test it, she's going to help me play through this. Janice is also going to provide some of the wonderful, colorful commentary that she did kind of throughout this game. So we're going to play a little bit. We're just going to kind of show you what the first player game's like and have some fun. So Janice, why don't you walk us through a little bit about what the premise of Assembly is, and also how to play the game.
So on Assembly, you are on a space station. Unfortunately, it's been hit by a load of meteorites, and they contained a virus, and it's wiped everybody out except you.
So
but
sole survivor.
You are a sole survivor, but so the computer has decided that it doesn't want this virus to get out, and it's quarantined the station. It's venting the air. It's blown up every ship on board that's attached to it. You can't escape. However, luckily, this is a luxury spaceship factory, and there just happens to be a spaceship in pieces in one of the assembly. On one of the assembly lines, and you can go and assemble it with a limited set of commands. But the computer's not going to make your life easy, and it's going to put a spanner in the work every now and again just to try and foil your escape back to Earth.
Okay.
Because the computer doesn't think you should go because you're infected, she thinks. So essentially you have these rooms. You already have one out dream. So in setup, you roll the dice and you place one room module out. And the very basic, or the essence of the game is a puzzle to get all of these little tokens matched up on their cards and locked in position, which sounds really, really simple. But if you head over to the 2-player game, you'll see that perhaps it's not quite as simple as it is, and we'll see how well Chris does on the solo game. You have 4 different actions. I don't know if can someone do the alt over the wild card?
Yes, I can. Oh, not that one. Which one?
The wild one up in
There it
cycle
is.
2.
And I'll put that kind of in the middle here for you, Matt.
Yeah, that would do. Yeah, so also that, so you've got a lock draw command with one. That allows you to bring a new room module out onto the assembly line, or it allows you to lock 1 or 2 modules in place if they match the correct blueprint. You can swap any 2 room modules around that aren't locked, and so you just literally take one from one position and move it to another. You can rotate all room modules either 1 or 2 spaces in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, but they all must move in the same direction and the same number of spaces. Or you can play 3 cards to do anything that you want, any of the above actions. And then there's a wild card as well. But yeah, the deck composition is quite limited, so it should be just about what you need. But if you do find it too, you've got plenty of ways to make the game more difficult. And if you find it too hard, we've got ways to make it easier too. So this is the standard setup from the game should attempt first before you start messing around.
Okay.
You also get to choose a role. We've got 4 out here. The base game comes with 6 roles, but yeah. So if you want to grab a role, and then we can have a look at what your special ability is. It's 1 use, so you only get to use it once in a game. Once you've played it, you flip it over, and that's it. It's gone. So be careful when you're deciding.
Right. I'm actually gonna flip these. I'm gonna be random. I think we're just gonna take a risk here and see what we get. I know there was 1 or 2 that I liked. Hey, cool. So this is a new one that we didn't play with on the solo playthrough. So I've got Finn here. Finn's special ability is so when we draw the red, orange, depending on what it shows up on the monitor, card, the lock and draw commands, I can do both instead of just one or the other, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, cool. I like that. That is one I want to play with. Okay, and so then it's ready for me to go. So I just draw 3 cards, right?
Yep, draw 3 cards to start. So the main difference between a solo and 2-player setup is that for a solo game, you have to remove 4 cards from the deck. So you're starting with a really small deck, and you go through it a lot faster than in 2-player. I agree. Show you a card. That's a good idea.
Right. I'm going to show off my cards. I'm trying to find the best place for it. We'll stick it here in the middle for now. It's not a great place, but I will.
Maybe move your roll card and.
Oh, yep. See, this is why I have other people play games with me, so they're super great ideas come out. Okay, so I've got my cards here on the bottom left. It looks like I've got 2 draw locks and a directional change.
Yeah, so you can rotate if it's a and to make life a little bit easier. Cards. So if you can't remember what clockwise is or anti-clockwise, we've got a little indicator on the card.
Okay. Okay. So again, when I'm actually going to ask Emma first. Emma, what is a strategy that you employ when you play Assembly as a solo player?
So I think what I'd like to do is get as many of the modules out as possible and try and lock as many rooms before the next cycle.
Okay.
Yeah, so at the end of each cycle, so when you can't draw any deck, anything that's unlocked gets picked up, shuffled, and then put down. So you may have worked really, really hard, got your module right on it, and just haven't quite locked it, and all of that can be undone instantly.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay.
Another good strategy, if I want to put it out there, is that obviously the draw and lock cards you can lock 2 at a time. So because you're on a solo, and I think how many cards are there?
There's 5 of them.
There's 5 per round per cycle, isn't there?
Yeah.
So you've got 12 modules, 12 bays to lock. So it's about knowing that you've got a certain amount of draws and a certain amount of locks.
Right.
And that doing 2 at a time means that you only need to do it 6 times to lock the whole thing within 3 rounds.
Okay. So again, getting those out now probably is pretty pretty helpful, at least a couple, to kind of get some tokens out there and get them moved.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I don't have to play all 3 cards, correct?
No, it's an option. So if you ever get that you don't want to do anything in your hand, you can just discard all 3 of them, whatever you want.
Okay. So, but if I played like 2, let's just say I played a lock and then a move, right? I could then draw back up to 3 and just have an additional turn, or do all 3 cards get discarded at the end of the turn?
Oh, you play 1 card each turn, and you have to whatever it. If you can, you know what the command is on that card.
Okay. Well, Emma, I think I have to draw some tiles out. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm going to draw a tile out. So this is my first roll here. And so let's draw. Okay, it looks like I've got navigation as a token. So I'm going to roll to see where navigation goes. 11, which is not terribly helpful per se for that placement. But I get to, so it's interesting because I've got the quarters icon here and I have navigation. Quarters is 1 movement to the right, and navigation is 2 movements to the right from where they're currently at. So I could probably, do a move and lock really quick with some of these. So that would be really interesting to see where that goes. Okay, so that's the order for this. So I can draw up, correct, Janice?
Yeah.
Okay, and then just play the turn again, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So rinse and repeat.
Okay, so I'm gonna, I think, draw. I actually think I'm gonna move this turn, and my logic here is that if I move, and I can move the right once to the clockwise once around the, I guess, yeah, clockwise. That's what it is. Then I can next turn draw out a new tile and at least lock the one that's there, so I can take advantage of my special ability.
Yeah.
Now, does that happen also once per game?
Sorry, which happens once per game?
The special ability happens once per game, right?
Yes. That's
Okay.
only 1 use in a game.
Okay. So it might be helpful to have 2 locks in place before I do that. Actually, I think I'm going to draw a couple more tiles out. I want to see if I can max out the benefit of that piece. So I pulled out the elevator. I'm going to now roll the dice here. And it goes to a 9. Okay. And so then I'm going to draw another card. Oh gosh, I'm loving these draw and locks apparently. Yeah, that's all that's coming out. Emma, at this stage, what am I doing? What are you thinking? I know this is solo play, but we're cheating.
One more. I'd go for getting 1 more token out, because when you use that, yeah, because this is when you use the turn ability. I know you said you wanted to use it quite quickly. In my head, if I've got more out, there's more chance for the tokens to land in the right place if they're like 1 away or 2 away.
Right.
And also, is it worth pointing out that if you roll the dice and it happens to land on a locked location or one where there's already a token, that you just keep moving in the clockwise direction until you find the right position. So that's the idea is that you don't keep rolling dice and using a location you can't play it in.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess having more out there gives me more chance for the swap cards when they come out to be useful too.
Yeah.
So, okay, I will do that again. So I pulled out the Shuttle Bay, not to be confused with Ice Bay. 4, which is here. Hey, that's great. So again, if I can move to the clockwise 1, I can then lock down 2 locations. So Emma with the clutch suggestion there. Okay. All right. So now it looks like I have, and there are only 2 movements in the solo. So right now, this is all the movement I currently have available to me.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I need to move. I think that needs to be the strategy that happens. Let's go ahead and throw down I'm going to move clockwise 1 station. So move Shuttle Bay to match. Navigation moves to 12. Looks like the quarters moves to 11 and the elevator moves to 10, which then lets me draw a card. I have another lock. Perfect.
Now I'm card counting here. Is that
Are
a
you
bad
card-
thing to do?
No, I don't think that's about. I mean, I don't know. Janice, you tell me if we differently.
No, that's a perfectly legitimate way to solve the puzzle.
Right. I mean, well, that's
if,
what you
if,
just.
that, if that's how you enjoy playing, then
Right.
card count.
I love how you've described it as a puzzle, and that's kind of what I'm doing now, is trying to think, okay, so I know what potentially can happen in the future, and it feels a little bit more like, again, kind of like You Beautiful Mind It, right? You think of all the possibilities, all these. If we can edit this in post-production, I think it'd be fun if we just had random, like, shapes and pentagrams, rubber duckies, tiny rhinos floating around my head, but just the sheer kind of, okay, so what's possible, what's a potential. Like I said, Emma, I'm thinking the same thing. So if there's 5 locks, I've used 3 of them. There's 2 movements and I've used 1 of them. So I have all the locks and movements currently there and present, in my hand. So I know that what's left are the swaps.
Yeah.
So
can I just point out here, actually, I've made you set up slightly harder because I'm a bit mean.
Oh, okay. I'm fine with a hard game, but where's the correction there?
You can actually have 6 locks in there, so the deck would have 1 more, but I've set it up for the slightly harder one because it's a bit more fun that way.
Oh, okay. I've played this game once.
You just want to see him struggle, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. Janice is just like, all right, this guy seems a little too arrogant. Let's see if we can make him feel.
I just want to add a note to the whole knowing what's in the cards in a single player it's kind of like, obviously what the game is called, assembly, like an assembly line. It's like you're pressing a button and what you're getting out are the tools, and there's a certain amount of tools on the assembly line, but you can only use what's the first 3 things that come out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And again, just it kind of knowing, all right, what's next, or what has happened, what possibilities are there. Okay. So I think one piece that I want to kind of make a comment in before I make a choice is what I love about the solo so far, again, is that puzzle aspect. But again, talking about the 2-player game, one of the things that's really interesting is, again, Janice, you described it. So Janice is over here on my screen. That's why I keep looking this way. Janice described the game more of as a press your luck piece for the 2-player, and I feel that, right? So when 2-player, you kind of have to guess what the other person has, and if they don't have it, there's a risk of discarding an extra card if you keep going with what you think is in your puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And so this feels a little bit more, can I think critically, whereas the other game has a little bit more randomness involved. And so I think that kind of adds a different level of difficulty, but kind of a level of difficulty for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to take advantage. I don't know how rare this happens. Oops, that's not the button I meant to press. I want to take advantage of my special ability, which is execute the lock and draw commands at the same time, because I get to draw 1 and lock 2. And if we were going to maximize it, I feel like that's the way to go.
I'm getting nervous now.
Emma, do you feel that way, or am I going too early?
So should I give you so on my strategy is that
tell me
you've got the ability to draw and lock at the same time, and when you get to the very end, you might find that you have like a couple of cards left that you need that for, whereas you kind of want to see how the game goes before you throw that out.
Okay, so you feel like it's too early.
Some of the roles are good to use early in the game, and some of them are better to save later in the game, and some of them require you line them up to be any use at all. So they're all slightly different, and so the idea is they all change your strategy slightly. So some of them are best to save for a certain point, some of them are best just to use as soon as possible, and some of them take a fair bit of work, but they're pretty powerful if you manage.
Okay. Right, and producer Matt's chiming in on some of the things. He also said if I start moving some things around, I to 4. So my concern though is 2, is if I move though, oh, lock, move, lock is the suggestion made. So I can lock these two here, and then I can move to make these two go to the right spot and then lock. Okay. I mean, that sounds like a great idea. Emma, do you agree?
I don't think you can lock the second two, can you? Not together, at least.
I can lock these two here where they're
Yep.
currently at, and then I can move, which would move the elevator to the elevator spot and the navigation to,
But it
and then I
wouldn't.
would just use my last lock.
Yeah, because the quarters will be locked, so it gets rid
It hops
of
over.
ignored
Oh,
space.
okay. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't thinking that far ahead. I was thinking of actually, yeah.
So the
you're
thing
right.
to know though is if I do that, then I've only got 2 cards left. And so if I do that, those 2 swaps are useless. Correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's yes. Matt says they're giving me time to do what I want to, which is a thing. Too, but yeah, I mean that's 4 rooms, and I feel like that's a pretty good use of that time. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'll go ahead and lock here. Let's flip here and here. All right, we'll put the lock tokens away so they don't get shuffled back in. Draw a card here, which again we know is a swap. And then let's go ahead and move. And since again, as Janice pointed out, this room is locked, so it hops over. And then we get to draw the last card, which will not draw the way I want it to, so we'll do this. And then
Yes, that's correct. So where
Yeah.
you what we call the scramble, so when the computer starts messing with you, that's when you do it when you can't draw a card.
yeah, so producer Matt said you reshuffle when you can't draw, and that's Janice responding to that piece. So I'm going to go ahead and lock these last 2. So we'll go ahead and flip these and pull these tokens off. Reshuffle this to this next. Nice. Okay, perfect. So I can't draw, so this is where we cycle. So I put this cycle card in, right, Janice?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So I'll flip, and we'll shuffle these rooms, not the rooms, but the cards up, and then I will draw my piece to make 3. And then the last thing I need to do before we start the turn is shuffle up all these rooms again, right, Jan?
Yeah, that's it. So then you shuffle them up so they're
okay.
captured.
So I will.
So if at this point you had the room module tokens on there, they would stay in their position. You just shuffle the cards up. So the idea is that the requirements for how the ship has to look changes.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm just going to shuffle these and then start with the 2 o'clock spot. And then we'll just go around here. Well, and so now here's the downfall of that strategy. If I would have been able to use, or if I would have the special ability, I would have had a token flipping around. But again,
Yeah.
it's I don't have any locks or draws, so that's a hard thing for me right now.
So right now you've got 2 choices.
Nope.
Miss your
Janice,
turn.
you cut out there for a second. Why don't you start that back up?
And so you've got essentially 2 choices. You can discard a card and hope that the next one you get out is something you want, and it's going to have no effect, so it would be like skipping a turn, or you can just plump it for it and just discard all 3 and do whatever you want. So those are the 2 choices at this stage. So
Okay.
you're kind of here, you're betting on what cards are in that deck.
Right. So I do have because of the cycle, I added an extra movement, so that wouldn't hurt as bad. But what I'm worried about is I would lose both of my shuffles here, or my swaps. Excuse me, not my shuffles. So that feels a lot. But again, like you said, I've got to bank on what's left being, 5 out of 7 shots or these locks, and I gotta hope that happens. But if not, I'm burning another card. So Emma, what do you think? What is
I would sacrifice one because I think you might pick up a lock, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Janice, do you have any creator wisdom for me?
I normally sort of sacrifice one, and then I often start sacrificing, and then I regret it and just wish that I'd gone for it.
Okay. Well, then here's my regret. So I'm gonna just do that one. I'm gonna take the advice here.
It's the safest way, but sometimes playing it safe doesn't work.
You know what? Playing it safe worked for me. So, okay. So that's that. I draw because we need the tokens out, right? Okay. So the medical has been drawn. So let's highlight our dice and let's roll here. Okay, 11. So that goes here, which is nice. That's 10. 11. Sorry, math is hard. Well, literally reinforcing the point I was going to make is 11 rotates around, but that's really close. So it's way better than this, the 7, 8, right? Where I have a couple of jumps to make either direction. So that's great. All right. So let's go ahead and pull. All right. Now here's the risk, right? Is that now we got to move. And so I can't necessarily maximize with that move, but at least it's not a wasted completely. I assume, Emma, you're feeling the same way, that we just go ahead and move so we can get in position to lock?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, again, discarding 3 is always an option, but I always get really nervous about that because that's, again, like essentially your game clock, right?
Yeah.
And you got to be really.
Oh no.
But again, here we go. So I've now done it, and then
this is where it starts to wonder where you actually just plump for it, and this is where regret sets in.
Right. Matt asked the question, can I use my special ability to lock and draw? I could if I had a card that had a lock and draw, one of the red cards. I don't have one. Now, could I use my special ability if I sacrificed all 3 cards?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So if you're performing that action, then...
So again, the question here is that I know I'm going to have, what's left is the swap's already in here, and then here's a swap, and then there's a movement here, and then 2 movements. So all that's left are these locks.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to get rid of all of this movement necessarily, because then I'm just going to draw a bunch of tokens out. And while they're out, and I can, that's great, I won't have any way to move or manipulate them and maybe actually take advantage of. I'm essentially just hoping that the locks land, the draws land where I want them, versus being able maybe to manipulate them and take advantage of that.
I would say when I get to this point in the game, I make the move and go, yay, I'm in the right place, and then get that sort of combination, and then I undo the move, but knowing that when I draw some more tokens, there'll be an opportunity to obviously use the 2 cards that I've saved. Yeah.
Okay. So you would say go ahead and do the move, and
because you're going to be able to draw a lot, so that the next move that you use might help you out getting 2 tokens in the right place, because you're going to lock a load.
Okay. Emma, do I move clockwise or counterclockwise?
Up to you. I don't think it makes much difference at this point.
You said up, so I'm going to go that direction. All right. So, yep, we got our draw here, and I think that's got to happen. So we pulled out the, this is the one I haven't seen, the VR lab. So an 11, 12, or 1 would be wonderful for that, or a 3 technically, because again, I could just swap here.
Yep.
So let's roll and see what happens. 3. All right. That is convenient. I had my hand over it, but I promise I didn't touch the die. Yeah, there was no breathing on the die. There was no shaking.
There was
the table.
telepathy, though. We always
Right.
need telepathy in this game.
There is telepathy. That's right. Emma and I used a lot of telepathy in the last game, and we lost. So, but again, there's no flicking. There's no flip table. All of those things are deactivated because Chris knows that I love to do that. So,
yeah, I was very tempted by the button. I still want to push it. I want to flip the table.
It's very satisfying until you're mid game and you have to reset things. There's some magic we can do, but with all the camera angles that Matt has, and which again I'm not opposed to doing. So, okay, I think the swap is our choice here, right? Am I Emma? Am I feeling the same way?
I'm like 2 steps ahead. I'm like swap and luck, swap and luck.
Yeah, definitely swap and lock.
Okay, so we'll swap. And then we will draw the next card here, which we know is a lock, right?
Yeah,
I'm clapping. Yeah, I'm clapping.
Now, here's the question. Again, do we use the special ability here? Because that would pull us a tile out, and it would lock these two all in the same movement. Again, I understand that this lower amount of space is potentially the more likely that this is to happen, but I also get into my brain, like, it's twice now that I've had the opportunity to take this to its full advantage, and I haven't used it yet. So, Emma, what do you think?
I still think that there might be an opportunity in the last round, but you also have that wild card that's going to throw in an extra lock if you want to use it.
Right. Okay. So, producer Matt says to do it. Emma says not. Janice, are you gonna
I
break
would
the
do
tie
it at this point.
You would do it?
Yeah.
Okay, and I was leaning to do it, so this is where
The main reason I would do it is so I didn't forget to do it later, and I know how critical those roll cards can be in order to actually have any chance at winning in the game.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry, Emma, but you have been outvoted. Now, can I do this in any
That's
order?
okay.
Can I lock first and just draw? That's not good?
Yes, it's up to you, so you can move.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and lock them, and I typically listen to Emma on all things, except for this now. I've now broken the streak of always listening to Emma.
You still have to discard your card, though.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for that.
Before we get an extra move.
So 4.
Yeah.
Puts that right there for us. I do get to draw here. Now this is the last card before the last cycle. So again, we're getting close to the death march here. Oh yes, I gotta flip my ability over. Okay, so here's the question. I can move. It's really what do I want shuffled back in the deck? So I will have that wild when I shuffle, and I will either have a lock or a rotate. Either way, this is going to cycle up, right? So I can't use both movements before the shuffle. I can't lock right now. Movement is nice, but then again, these are all going to shuffle. I think I kind of want to use the lock draw and draw a card out, token out, so that I have one more token out. I also get a chance to have that shuffled and cycled back in. I know that's one less movement, but again, I have the wild, and I don't know. I think that's what I want to do. But Emma, do you have any thoughts?
I think I'm going along with what you're saying right there.
Okay. All right. I like it. So I'm gonna.
No, it was. I was listening intently.
Oh, for some reason this got duplicated. That's already been locked, so I'm gonna put that away. Which might. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So as long as these are all the right tiles, correct. Okay. So let's roll here. 1, which cycles all the way around here to 6. Okay, so now we get to put this cycle card in here. We'll flip it, we'll shuffle. We'll select the deck over, we'll move it, and then we'll draw 1 to, hey, look, this hand looks so familiar. Okay, so we'll pull these back in because again, it's the end of the cycle. So we need to randomize these. hoping that one of them or both of them lands on something we already have. So I'm just going to shuffle these and start with the 4 o'clock slot. Okay. So this is great because right now, if I use this move, well, okay, this is, but if I use the move token first, I move both of these into the correct locations and then I can lock them.
Yep.
So I think that's what I'm going to do here. We'll move 1 to the counterclockwise, which puts our teleporter here and our engineering here. I will draw a card to see what's left, which is good because I needed some draws out. Next turn, I'm going to play one of those draw locks, and I'm just going to lock. So we will put those down here, those tokens away. All right. So we'll... my producer is nervous. My producer has no faith in me. And based on my experience, I'm 0-1 on this game, so I have lost 100%. So technically, his fear is somewhat founded. So, I mean, I have no tiles out. I've got a draw, I think. And so now, but here's the thing. So there's 5 in here, and one is sitting out.
You're never allowed to look through the draw part, the discard pile.
Say that one more time.
One of the rules is you can't look through the discard pile.
Okay.
So that's where the card counting kind of comes in a bit, but at the same time, to try and stop you just card counting, there's a little bit of sort of memory and gut going in there too.
Okay. Well, I knew that. But not that I couldn't touch my discard pile, but that I knew that there was only one, but it was more for showing, but I won't touch it again. But I only have 4 drawn locks out. So here's the fear that I have is, well, technically 5 with the wild. So can I do it? Can I?
You've always got the discard 3 option, remember?
Oh, I do have the discard 3 option. Okay. Well, regardless, I need to draw a tile. So I think that has to happen. All right. Looks like we have the hydroponics busted out. 6, not going to happen. But the 3 does, which means it rotates all the way around here. So let's go ahead and draw and flip a card. All right, another draw. I'm going to use it. So again, we want to get some tiles out here. All right, so the AI core, we need a 9. None of those bounce around movements for us. It's 11, which is going to cycle again all the way around to the 7. Let's draw a card here. Okay, it's a swap. I'm gonna throw it out to my my supporter here, Emma. What do you think?
Oh my god, I'm losing oxygen again.
Too many decisions. You're getting nervous.
Okay, so yeah, my overall thinking is I want to get all the tokens out and then just see what happens.
Okay. I mean, I kind of wanted to draw. So
like... at this point, it's probably worth pointing out the scoring. So we've got a scorecard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
so I'll pull the scorecard over. So there's 2 sides of the scorecard. There's a lose and a win side, right?
Yeah, so you know where you are if you lose or you win. So at least have a chance of for having more of the tokens out of the bag and onto the assembly line. So if depending on how you're playing, that might sort of sway, saying, well, if I win or not, I want to maximize my score, so I want to get more tokens out. But
since I've never won, I just want to win. Yeah, I think I need to draw. So let's pull it. All right, the gun, which is so again, I want that. I want that. You want 9,
that to go on the AI cut. You want it on 9, don't you?
Right. I want that 9 so that security goes. Oh, and I'm bouncing around the. It's a 1. Okay. Oh, and then the movement. Okay. You know, if I rotate this the opposite direction, actually that wasn't as bad as it could have been. So if I rotate this, oh, that's right. There's this. Okay. I can swap. I still have one swap left and a wild left and a lock left. I can swap and hope I get the lock. Oh, can I do it? I don't have enough locks. I only have.
Wait, did you just say, could you swap the green and the white and then rotate?
Say that one more time, Emma.
Swap the green and the white, rotate. Is it one?
Clockwise.
No, did that work? That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It would work. One. And then you can
So
lock.
if I swap the green and the white and then rotate.
Swap, rotate and lock.
Yeah.
No, you'll get 3 in position. Emma's right there.
Yeah, and if I I think that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna swap. Trusting Emma.
Yeah.
The green and white. And if you can't trust your the voices of your dead shipmates, then what do you do? All right. Hey, there we go. That's what we needed. Yeah.
No, you Emma's plans.
So if I rotate here,
Mm-hmm.
then the only spot open for the last token is the correct location.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna play my move to rotate everything counterclockwise 1 space. Draw. Now it's at the end of the turn when I can't draw anymore that the.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so I win. I've got this, right? Oh no, I don't, because I've got to lock twice.
Yeah.
Oh. If I only had that special ability. But again, can't guarantee that I would have had this set up last time.
And you got that set up because you used the special ability.
Say that one more time. I gotta. Oh, that's right, Emma. I've got to have a lock to use that. Okay. Well, I'm gonna draw it so it looks pretty, and that's the only place it can go. We'll pull it out here, and we'll use the last one to lock. Let's. I think since I'm the only person left, I don't really care about security, and I need food. And I assume I probably need the AI core, even though the jerk is the one that's locked me out of things.
Oh, this is a different one. This is the one on the spaceship rather than the space station. You're fine.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, unless they start going in cahoots and start talking to each other.
The AIs talk to each other.
Yeah.
Right. We get kind of like a bug, a mutation that goes over and all the things. Okay, so I have lost. Gosh, now this game twice in a row now. It's unfortunate.
So this is where you possibly get your regret that maybe if you played them and do anything with them, maybe you
Janice,
would
say that for me one more time.
So earlier in the game, you had the option to discard 3 cards, but a couple of times you ended up just discarding cards that sort of move tokens back and forth and didn't really do anything.
Right.
There's always the option back there that says where I often sort of play it safe, and then I go back and I regret it because had I actually done that at the time and not paddled around, maybe I would have then used that for a draw or a lock, right, and then I'd finished the game.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Go ahead.
Go. So what are you going to say?
I was just going to score up. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, I lost, so let's go to this loser side. So I get a point for each drawn room module.
Yeah.
So is that all 12?
Yeah, that's all 12, and then one for each locked one.
12. And then I've locked 10. So that's 22 points. Almost there. Yeah. Perhaps just a minute or two longer, I would have escaped. Unfortunately, you'll never find out. Womp womp. The card's in the middle, Matt. So, gosh, okay, now I've played this game as 2-player and I've played this game as solo. Janice, I've lost both. So apparently I'm not as great of a gamer as I talk myself up to be. Apparently I just can't win games when I don't compete against people. I don't know, something strange.
How many times?
Well, I don't want you winning on your first game anyway, so that's good.
Oh, yeah, you want to be hard enough.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that we have on this show is kind of a routine, if you call it, where the host or the guest, excuse me, never wins. And since you weren't playing the game, I mean, I think you kind of wanted us to lose. And so you have joined that elite group of Geek Spiel Table Crasher hosts, or guests, excuse me, who have actually beaten the players. So congratulations. We'll make a little trophy for you.
I'm starting to
look out for it in the post.
I'm starting to think Janice is the AI.
Janice is our AI here. I mean, we could just take her visual, right? We don't know that picture of Janice, so it could just be her sending out a single image into the internet world, electronic technology universe. So
this assembly was actually designed by an AI.
Inception, AI Inception.
And can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Emma.
Because I mean, you were talking about getting on that ship and that there's that AI module there and it's a different AI module, but I'm kind of going along the lines of Portal of the AI that takes over. Is there going to be a series to this where if you escape and you get onto the shuttle, like something happens on that shuttle that you have to puzzle?
Someone else has asked that. I haven't thought of any. So that'll be something to puzzle over, I guess. Months, assuming we fund successfully, that might be a nice little follow-on.
I'm seeing a problem on the shuttle getting to Earth, and then a third one of having to make this vaccine.
Yeah, and perhaps just landing to Earth without getting shot down because you're carrying a virus with you, perhaps.
Gosh, this is like intense. And one of the things that you talked about, played 2-player, but now I'm gonna bring up now is that they're the malfunctions, right? And so do you want to talk just a minute about that?
Yeah, so what we played is sort of the simple game, and it's not necessarily simple in terms of how easy it is, because some people find the malfunctions easier and some people find them more difficult, depending on which set you play with. But malfunctions, they have a negative effect on the gameplay, and then a couple of them have a small positive. So when you lock, say, bay 3, 6, 9, and 12, there will be some sort of effect. So the most noticeable one in my function set A, which is the first one I recommend you play with if you play with them, is that unless 12 is the last bay that you lock, you must unlock a different location. So it's not saying that you have to lock it last, but it's saying if you don't lock it last, then you're going to undo some of your other work. And the idea is just to force you to perhaps have a slightly different strategy. So you might sort of have one out and you might have got it in bay 12, having forgot about this malfunction, and then lock it or think about locking it and realise actually you've spent all that time getting it there and you don't want it there because you don't want to do that until right at the end of the game. And so you have this module sort of floating around throughout the whole game, sort of just swanning around and being a little bit annoying, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, it adds that randomness to that puzzle that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it adds an extra dimension to the puzzle, that you've got something else going on there that you have to work out and put through, so to make sure that an extra thing in there that you have to solve as part of the puzzle rather than just getting the bays there. There's something else happen if I do this, and if I do this now, it's going to have this effect. So when should I use it? So the positive ones, it's about activating when they're going to benefit you most, and the negative ones, it's about activating when they're going to affect you least.
For sure.
Yeah.
Gosh, again, Janice, I love this game. I think it's fun. I've lost twice and I still want to keep playing. I remember you said earlier in the the show, or a different show. I can't remember which one now, but you said you've play tested this hundreds of times and you keep wanting to play it. And I think that's the trademark of a great game. And I haven't played it 100 times. 2 is less than 100. Look at me doing math. But I think one of the great things is that I even losing twice, right? I think sometimes folks think, gosh, you know, if it's a game I can't win, then like, why play it? Like, that's not enjoyable to lose all the time. But it feels like a challenge that I need to overcome. And again, how easy is it to play a solo game? Like, I've been in places where I've got 20 minutes where I can easily just bring this box with me, go, let's do this, and play by myself. I mean, how hard is it to get a table going and stuff? So I love it. It's great. Emma, do you have any last minute reactions or thoughts about the game?
I think you've wrapped it all up there.
Okay.
I really do enjoy it, and because I've only ever played the solo, but I haven't played with these malfunctions, so it'd be really interesting to see how they change the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've got 3 different sets. So the first 2 sets, positive or 2 neutral or positive and 2 negative effects. And then the third set is just a bit mean, but it's I wanted a set that's sort of challenged me a bit more now, because I've been playing it quite a lot, so I wanted something that I sort of had a bit more of a puzzle to me, someone who's played it a huge number of times, and so that one there I've snuck into the base game as well, because I think that's the most fun set, because it's got the most amount of puzzle to it, because it's all about how many cards you play and when you play those cards and how you lock things. You can get some good combos going with locking stuff as well, so it's quite good.
And how many times did you say you won against the new cards?
The new one, I think I lost the first few, and now 3. So I've worked out the strategy, if that makes sense. So I sort of know in my head what should work, and I've got a feel what should work, and then I sort of play it through. So I now about maybe 2 out of 3 I win on that one. Whereas the base game, about pretty much every game, but I've got different difficulty settings that you can scale it. But I do know the inner workings of the game, so
you figured it out a few times. Again, I hope after playthroughs that you know, got it figured out.
It's still satisfying winning though, which is quite good. Which is quite good. Yeah, it's
right. Again, that's a great indicator for a game.
Yeah, I think one of the reviewers we had described it as meditative, assuming I can actually speak. And I think I quite agree with that. It is quite just that getting everything in order. It sort of fits that, and it scratches that itch. It gets everything in order, and it's quite enjoyable, even if you're winning or losing. If you're losing, it's like, well, I want to do better. And if you're winning, it's like, yeah, it's great. I've got everything in order.
Okay. Well, Janice and Emma, you're both in the UK. It's probably getting a little late there for you all. But again, thank you so much for joining us. I've appreciated being able to play the game with you. On behalf of all of us at Geekspiel, we want to thank you, and have a good night, folks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.